What is going on, people? So it is actually a really good day, for me at least, because it's Thursday. Comic Con starts tonight. San Diego Comic Con actually started today. San Diego Comic Con 2024. So there's going to be a lot of cool nerd stuff revealed, and some stuff has actually come out early, and you can tell by the title of this video that we're talking about Absolute DC. So let's dive in here. So I'm a little late to the game on this. I know that. Let's see, when was it announced? Seven days ago. So I'm a week late on this news, but it's been in the rumor mill for quite a while that DC Comics was going to go ahead and try to do basically their version of an Ultimate Universe, like Marvel did the Ultimate Universe and has recently done again their new Ultimate Universe. That's been in the rumor mill for a while. It's also been a rumor that Scott Snyder was going to be heading it, and all of that has turned out to be true because we have the official announcement of Absolute DC now. It's going to be springing out of this the latest event DC has going on called Absolute Power, and then that event's going to end, and I'm guessing at the end of it is going to create the Absolute Universe, which is DC's Ultimate Universe. And basically, the real kickoff for all of this is going to be on, let's see, the DC All In Special is this big one-shot special. DC All In Special #1 is going to be on sale October 2nd. Written by Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson, illustrated by Daniel Sampere and Wes Craig. And then on October 9th, we are getting Absolute Batman #1, written by Scott Snyder again and drawn, illustrated by Nick Dragotta. Absolute Wonder Woman we're getting on October 23rd by Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman. And then on November 6th, we're getting Absolute Superman #1, which is being written by Jason Aaron and illustrated by Rafa Sandoval. So right off the bat with this announcement, I think they're starting this Absolute Universe off right. I've said in previous videos about comic books that in these days less is more. The bigger you can make your epic universe spanning story franchise within a smaller amount of monthly comic book series, the better. The days of your average comic book reader, your diehard fans are always going to be your diehard fans. The people who are like really into comics, like they go to the comic book store every Wednesday on new comic, like your Sheldon Coopers, all right? They go to the comic book store every Wednesday on New Comic Book Day, and they leave with a stack, right? Those people are always going to be those people, but they are not the by and large community anymore. You're looking for just like the casual reader. The casual reader is not going to keep track of a story that takes place across 50 plus monthly comic book series. All right, they want like 5 to 7 books, comic books that they have to read per month. DC for their absolute is starting off with 3: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, the Trinity. That's a good decision. I'm not saying they couldn't have gone a little bit more. I think they probably could have gotten away with doing like a Green Lantern core book. I think they could have gotten away with doing a Flash. I think they could have gotten away with doing maybe a JSA that takes place, prior in the before. It gets kind of muddy there, but I would rather see them do something like this. I'd rather them do too little than too much. And I almost want to make the argument that this is not even too little. This is a perfectly appropriate start, is just to get the Trinity established in this new universe. Super excited about this. All of these are going on my pull list alongside everything from Ghost Machine, because this is what I've been saying. This is more or less what I've been saying DC needs to do now for like the last probably like the last 3 years. I've been of the opinion that DC Comics canon and continuity is just so absolutely fucked that there's no fixing it. And even though they have this terrible reputation of constantly rebooting and restarting, that's exactly what they need to do. But they need to not like pussyfoot around, and they need to wholeheartedly restart, like full send restart. shake the Etch a Sketch hard and start everything over from square fucking one. Batman has just started being Batman. Superman has maybe within the last 6 months only just revealed himself to the human race as a superpowered alien. I'm talking the beginning, back to square one. I always kind of said that's what they needed to do with their main line. But as a caveat to that, I have been saying, especially like within the last year, that if they wanted to try and do something like Ultimate Marvel, where they just create a separate spin-off universe for people who are looking for something new and fresh and a clear jumping on point, they could do it that way, and that's what they're doing. So it's good to see people over at DC making a smart move. I think the writing has been on the wall. Everyone hates their shit. Uh, Everyone's tired of there being no canon and continuity to follow. Everyone's tired of the stories being kind of whack. Everyone's tired of the constant rebooting. Everyone's tired of the everyone's just tired of their bullshit. And I think a lot of their creators jumping ship and starting Ghost Machine was a really big deal. And then this is a good thing. The long story short here is this absolute DC stuff is a good thing. I highly anticipate that unless they just absolutely fuck this up, and they've fucked up a lot of shit, so I wouldn't put it past them entirely, but I I I could see this overtaking the main line of DC Comics. I could see in the long run anyone who even just casually reads comics is going to come to care more about the absolute DC universe than the main line, because the main line's content, like, there is no story. If you don't have canon and continuity, you really don't have a story. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive in a little bit farther here and check out some of the artwork that has been released. And we're going to go with when we talk about each individual of these three characters, we'll dive into the basic premise of their story. So this is a picture of our new Trinity. We have Superman on the left, Wonder Woman in the middle, and Batman on the right. And at a first glance, what I love about this is at a glance, they look pretty standard. Superman, the big Superman emblem, it's a darker muted blue, but it's still blue. Red cape. Wonder Woman, she's got the band on, long black hair. The Wonder Woman, I don't want to call it a corset, but like whatever, armor, whatever. Batman, black and gray, black bat emblem, black trunks, black pointy ears. The characters look recognizable. They didn't go overboard crazy with the redesign here on any of these, but there are nice subtle tweaks and changes. Superman has some like glowy shit going on in his like midsection, and then his forearms are also all glowy. Wonder what that is. I'm not knocking it. I don't think it looks bad. Interesting. I wonder what it is. The hair. A lot of people have been griping about Superman's hair, this like long hair. Whatever. I mean, we got to stop holding on to shit like, oh, he has to have the red trunks because that's just always been part of Superman's. Oh, he has to have the S crooks. That's just always been part of Superman's. Oh, he has to always have the gold S on the back of the cape because that's just always been part. No, this is fine. This is fine. I honestly think he looks cool. There's gonna be a second picture of him coming up here in the lineup that I think looks awesome. Wonder Woman. I'm gonna be honest. I care about Wonder Woman the least out of all of these. I just do. She's out of the Trinity. She's my least favorite. She looks like Wonder Woman to me. I have heard people say that like the tattoos on her right arm seem almost more Norse Viking mythology type deal than Greek. So some people have hypothesized that maybe for this absolute universe, Wonder Woman comes from Greek or from Norse mythology rather than Greek mythology. That would be a drastic departure. And normally, I'm not in favor of changes that are that drastic. However, as I said, since I never really cared about the character Wonder Woman in and of herself, like, I agree, if you're going to build a Justice League, and when the time comes in this universe where they do build the Justice League, Wonder Woman needs to be on it. She is a staple of the DC universe. She is a founding member of the Justice League. She is a member of the core Trinity. But this is probably going to be the first time ever that I am reading a Wonder Woman monthly comic book series ever. Even when the New 52 came out, I didn't really read Wonder Woman. I've never gone to the comic book store month after month after month and picked up a Wonder Woman title. This is the first time I'm going to do that. So I just don't care about the character all that much enough to be like this drastic. If she is from Norse mythology this time around, that drastic departure and change doesn't bother me as much because the character's not as important to me. And who knows, this might be the version of the character that really makes me like Wonder Woman. If that's the case, then I'm gonna be a little more partial to the Viking Norse Wonder Woman as opposed to the Greek mythology Amazon Wonder Woman. But we'll see what happens. And then of course we've got Batman. This picture of Batman is sick. There are other pictures. Batman's the character we've gotten the most imagery for the Absolute Universe. I love this picture. There's others I'm not so crazy about. We'll get into it. So let's dive in. First up is Wonder Woman. And basically, the premise for Wonder Woman this time around is there's no Paradise Island, there's no Sisterhood of Amazons, there's to kind of like guide her and form and develop who she is, and she's not on a mission of peace. There's no mission for peace on Earth amongst mankind. So it's kind of like, why is she even around? What is she doing in this universe? She's not fighting for peace. There's no sisterhood and there's no Amazons on Paradise Island. I'm really thinking like this is really giving credit to this Norse thing. A lot of people have thought she's gonna be like the last of like the Norse Valkyries from Norse mythology. Could be. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna see how I like it. Maybe I'll find it interesting. I've never read Wonder Woman outside of like a Justice League title, so I don't care. I mean, I have no bias here. I have no expectations. I'm going into it blind, so we'll have to see. Just this picture again, just kind of showing that the costume is a little different. I think there's this black on her arm here, whereas it is okay. So that arm is armored. I didn't quite notice that before. And then you can't really tell about the legs. I can't tell if I think she's wearing like an armored skirt like she normally does, but it could be pants. And then sorry, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. This I don't know if that's pants or just like a skirt and then really high high leg armor. I don't know. But anyway, I'm fine with the design. I'm fine with the premise. I'm fine with Wonder Woman. So there's that image again. Next up is Superman. This dude looks like, oh my god, this is sick. This is like, so these pieces here, these like golden, glowy, red energy pieces on his midsection, that reminds me straight out of like Henry Cavill's suit. The cape is big and billowy. I want to know what this like glowy energy shit is on his forearms. As you can see over here on this side, it's kind of like flaking off, like some like Infinity Stone snap turn people to ash type shit. I don't know what it is. It's gonna have to do with some kind of solar energy, power, whatever. Yeah, but the premise of this Superman is this is a new version of Superman where he has no family, so there's no Jonathan or Martha Kent, no Fortress of Solitude, so probably not deep into his Kryptonian heritage. Um, yeah, and no home. So in other words, this is kind of just like he's I've heard it's going to be a Superman that's more alien than human. So it's literally this guy on Earth with all these powers being a superhero, but that's all he like there I don't even think he like who's to say he's even going to have a secret identity this time around? Who's to say he's even going to do the whole Clark Kent thing? That's interesting to me because from a 21st century adult perspective, I kind of look at it as like other than to just like be closer to humanity and like actually engage with people outside of being Superman, there really is no reason for him to be Clark Kent and be a reporter. Like he doesn't need the money. He doesn't. He's fucking Superman. Like he doesn't need to have a job. So, I don't know. We're going to see how this ends up. I love the suit. I like that it's a muted bluish gray that really contrasts cool with the red and especially the glowy stuff on the arms. Um, Before I forget, I want to make sure I get this in the video. McFarlane Toys. I'm telling you now, you should start planning figures of these now. I'm not saying rush them into production because next thing you know, the comics will hit shelves and the Absolute Universe will actually be shit and fans will hate it and then it'll get canceled. And next thing you know, you're trying to sell these action figures of that people don't want. But I would just start laying out the designs and the outline of these figures now. You've already got Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns Batman in figure form. It would not take much to tweak that into absolute Batman. I'm going to try to remember to repeat this at the end of the video, but yeah, McFarlane, get on it. I would buy all three of these right now if they were for sale, McFarlane Toys. I would, even though I haven't read the comic yet. That is how happy I am to hear about this news, and that is how wholeheartedly I'm going into this with everything that I have. This is exactly the kind of thing that I've been saying DC needs to do for a very long time, and they're finally doing it. So they're gonna get my support. So that's Superman. And one of the differences I wanted to point out, obviously it's two different artists in this picture and this picture, but here the energy is very red, glowy, and then here it's almost got like, there's definitely some red and orange in there, but it's almost like gold. So I don't know if that's just a difference in art style per artist, or if like, are his arms heating up and getting hotter with solar? I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. That's just something I noticed. I like how they're doing a lot now with the symbol where it's it's still an S and it's got the little flare right there, the little tail right there. But between the David Cornsweet Superman costume from the James Gunn Superman movie is the Kingdom Come costume. It seems like this is also trying to get close to that, where it's like it's blending the S in more with the outline of the shield than having the S be an actual just like S inside the shield. I like that. I think it's cool. I love the symbol. I love this costume. Like I said, McFarlane, you make figures of these. I'm buying up. I might buy two of each one. I don't know. Well, I don't know. I might. But that was just between the two different artists, because the artist that did this is not the same artist that did this. The guy who did this is the artist of the comic. This is Rafa Sandoval did this one, and then this is by double checking here real quick. Ba, 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 ba. Daniel Sampier and Wes Craig. I'm not sure which one of them did this, but it was one of those. Pretty sure. Anyway, so let's talk about my man Batman. So I've got a lot to say about his appearance, and I have a lot to say about both the appearance and the story. Let's just dive into the appearance. So right off the bat, the thing you notice the most is the size, for sure. He's hulkingly huge and muscle bound. Holy shit, we thought Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns was a hefty, beefy Batman. This is on another level. Um, all I can say is this. This is clearly Nick Dragotta's artwork, and I don't necessarily like the way he has drawn Batman in this particular picture and in others, which we're going to take a look at. However, whoever drew him for this picture, whoever illustrated Batman in this picture, whether it was there's two artists I mentioned a minute ago. I like this person's design. It's the same costume. It's just this one is, you still got a big broad chest, big broad shoulders, big broad arms, but you can tell like here's where his back is right here, because there's where the arm ends and that's the cape back there. Here's where his back is, and it's just a little bit more, it's just not quite so just massive muscle beefy. This is just beefcake central, and it's too much for me. Maybe Nick Dragotta will tone it down as time goes on. If the feedback tends to be majority that, hey, this is a little much, maybe he'll tone it down. And if not, we can at least hopefully look forward to the fact that when Batman appears in any other comics drawn by any other artists, they might draw him a little just less, just beefy. Other things that I have an issue with, this bat symbol. Once again, like Frank Miller in The Dark Knight Returns introduced just a big, broad, wide, fat bat symbol. But at least his still looked like a bat. This is a rectangle with a black rectangle with some spikes. That also needs to be toned down. Even if you're going for the whole thing of like the symbol is extra armor over his chest, great. It can still look like a bat. Frank Miller proved that in The Dark Knight Returns. I would like to see this turned into more of a bat. Other than those two things, I think the design is sick. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I can't believe I'm saying this. I don't even mind the black trunks. I think I've come to terms with my problem with the trunks on superheroes is when they look like underwear or a speedo, but when they are trunks, when they are clearly shorts, even if they're not I'm not talking about like volleyball booty shorts, trunks. When they are actually like, go down on the leg a little bit, that's a bit better for me. I just don't need like swimsuit bottoms, a speedo, whitey tighty underwear shaped shit on my superheroes to remind me where their junk is. All right? Don't need that. So I honestly don't even mind the trunks. The costume design is cool. So he's got this new, it's not even so much of a cape. It's more of just like these four pieces of material that come out of this thing on his back, and we're going to look at that here in a second. And they've got these like this is almost like a spine to it, like a rigid skeleton that like a bat would have in its wings, and they end on these like hooks. And it was even said in I think there's a video, an announcement, DC Absolute DC All In announcement video on their YouTube channel where Scott Snyder's in the video. He's talking about this stuff, and he talks about like the cape can be used as a weapon, and we see that in some additional artwork. So here's a piece of artwork from Absolute Batman. I don't know if it's Absolute Batman #1. I'm assuming it is, where he's taking on these two thugs wearing like skull masks. And the picture is actually a lot smaller on screen here than I thought it would be, but you can see like he's flung the cape out, and he's wrapped that hook around this guy's neck, around the back of this guy's neck, this hook that you see here on the ground. And then he, in this panel, this Batman, he like launches the guy into the air and throws him. So I'm thinking that this cape um, has some quote on like some mechanical features to it, which are kind of cool. This piece of artwork right here, I don't know, you people want to zoom in on this. This is a really cool shot of Batman. He's kind of hunched over. The shadows are clouding his face. The long ears, he's flinging the cape out. The other pieces of it are trailing behind him. And it is four distinct pieces. He's got the two pieces here going over his hands that are out in front of him. And then you can see there's two more pieces dangling behind him. I assume these also have some kind of like skeletal structure system in them. Maybe. I don't know. Here's him jumping up into the air over these two goons. That's a really cool shot. And then the very next panel over where he's doing like a split kick and kicking them both in the face. This is absolutely ruined by the comically hilarious tree trunks of legs that he has. Once again, Nick Dragotta, it's just too much, dog. Like, even let's look at some pictures from there. Here, let's look at this real quick. So there's this mechanical piece. He doesn't have the cape on here. You can tell this is a rough sketch that Nick Dragotta did because the bat symbol is not fully developed to what it ends up being in the actual art. But you can see there's some kind of like aperture on the back here of his like collar and like shoulder blade area. I'm pretty sure that the cape is going to have some kind of like mechanical function to it, to where like it he can throw it and use it as a weapon. Yeah. But let's look at some. Oh, that's a really cool shot too. And it's like when he's hunched down and crunched up, and like a lot of his girth and beefiness is kind of subdued and hidden. I think it's really cool. It's only when he's standing straight up or has his legs flung out that you can. That's really just kind of looks comical. Also, like you can even see in this picture, that's a cool image. But down here, when you just see these giant thunder thighs, that's when I'm kind of like, what the fuck? The picture's really small. I apologize for how small the picture is. But that's a cool shot. And you can definitely tell it's four distinct wings, cape, cloth that are coming off the back. This is sick. I think this is badass. McFarlane Toys. If there was a figure of this to pre-order right now, I would do so. But there's not. And I'm highly considering just going ahead and trying to make a custom. The only thing stopping me from buying every single component that I think I need to make a custom is that, like I said at the beginning of the video, San Diego Comic-Con is this weekend. So I'm like, what if by chance at San Diego Comic-Con, McFarlane Toys shows off Absolute DC figures? Then I don't need to make a custom. So anyway, let's look at some pictures from Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. And like I said, back in like before this guy, we thought this was a beefy Batman. Holy shit. You know, that this looks very lean and aesthetic compared to this guy. Um, and also I like that the bat looks on the chest looks like a bat. It's still big and broad and wide, but it looks like a bat. I do like the longer ears. I don't know if I like exactly how long they are, but I think that they look better than how small these are. So, and then there's another picture of him coming in through from the sky, very similar to that one. So you can kind of see that there. And if this had longer ears and that new absolute cape, I think this would be a better design. You can see how this is a good level of like if you want to go for a big, beefy, muscular Batman, I think something more in line with this. This is too much. Too much. Way too much. Like just let's tone it down, especially in the legs. Let's tone it down. This guy seems to know what he's doing. Whoever drew this version of him. Like in this style. This is better. I like this a lot better than this one. So, yeah. What else is there to talk about? The story of Batman. So it says in this iteration, fans will be introduced to a new version of the Dark Knight that doesn't have the money, the mansion, or butler of his core line counterpart. So a lot of people are saying this is going to be a working class Batman. Maybe. Um, he just says he's not going to have the money, he's not going to have a butler, and he's not going to have a mansion. I don't really know what that entails. I've been trying to think about it. I'm like, okay, can he even really be Batman without the money? Because in my opinion, what's always allowed Batman to stand up next to characters like Wonder Woman or Superman is whereas they have all these powers, Batman has the cutting edge tech. And where does he get that tech from? Well, he either buys it off the black market because he's a billionaire, multi-billionaire, or he invents it himself using his own company's R&D department and just kind of does it off the books. That's how he ends up with the crazy cutting edge tech. If he doesn't have the money or the corporation, I don't see how he's going to get the tech. If he doesn't have the tech, I don't see how he can stand up next to characters like these two. But there is a Marvel Comics character that is in a lot of ways, and I mean a lot of ways, a Batman without all the money. Daredevil. Daredevil, especially the Netflix Daredevil, is a working class Batman. He doesn't have a butler, he doesn't have a mansion, but he goes out on the streets at night and he seeks justice in a vigilante type way. Now, how is Daredevil able to do this without getting absolutely fucking murdered? He has powers. They're more subtle. They're not quite like Superman's level of super strength or heat vision or anything like that. But Daredevil does have powers. And what Batman lacks in powers, he always made up for in, like I said, tech or training. One of the other things that his billionaire fortune allowed him to do was fuck off around the world from like age 9 to 25 and just train and learn and study and then come back to Gotham as like the greatest crime fighter, most well-trained crime fighter the world has ever seen. World-class detective, expert hand-to-hand combatant, everything. How is he going to get all that training and world traveling experience if he doesn't have the money? I only have one theory, and I came to this theory based on I asked myself how I would do absolute Batman with no money, no mansion, and no butler, and the way I would do it is the League of Assassins seeking world domination have infiltrated every major corporation in the world, including Wayne Enterprises. Thomas and Martha Wayne get murdered, and the League of Assassins have it set up that they manipulate the paperwork and whatever using their connections, and they have it set up to where they will assume guardianship of Bruce Wayne, or someone will, like a cover. It's a cover, but it's really the League of Assassins. They'll assume guardianship of Bruce Wayne, and the League of Assassins will assume control of Wayne Enterprises through like a proxy, shell corporation, whatever type shit, until he comes of age. They take Bruce Wayne, they take him to their headquarters with Ra's al Ghul. They pitch Bruce this whole thing about like we're actually a secret order of people seeking justice throughout the world. Your parents were murdered. Let us train you to be a man of justice. Something happens way down the road, uh, but before we get to that, Bruce does exceptionally well in the training. He's a natural. He's a prodigy. Ra's al Ghul likes him so much. He's the best student Ra's has ever had. Ra's likes him so much he starts considering him like gonna be his heir. He decides to like betroth him to his daughter Talia. Talia also develops feelings for Bruce. Bruce gets older, reaches his early to mid 20s. Something happens that causes him to become disillusioned with the League of Assassins. He goes rogue, leaves them, returns to Gotham, but they're still in control of Wayne Enterprises through their manipulation shell corporation crap and proxy company, whatever. They're still in control of his Wayne Enterprises, his company, his money, so he has none of the money. But he has all the training from the League of Assassins. So, yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like, by some miracle of a chance, this is actually what the story's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if the League of Assassins, what caused Bruce to go rogue and leave the League of Assassins is he found out they were behind the deaths of his parents, because that was the plot all along. Kill the parents, assume control of the company, raise Bruce Wayne as their puppet, install him as their puppet to run the company, and further their goals of world domination. Wouldn't I mean, that's what I came up with off the dome. How a Bruce Wayne with no money, no mansion, no butler could still be Batman. Otherwise, if he has no money, he has no cutting edge tech, he never traveled the world, he never sought out all the detective training, the hand-to-hand combat training, the forensic training, the computer science training, the engineering training. He never got all that. He's just a working class average Joe who put on a bat suit. I don't understand how he's not going to get fucked up out there every day. And if we're expected to believe that he's some working class average Joe who just put on a bat suit and he's out there whooping ass simply because he's just such a giant motherfucker, I'm not going to be cool with that one. That's no. You want to make him big, Nick Dragotta? Fine. Make him this big beefcake boy. I don't care. But I still want him to be a stealthy ninja, expert hand-to-hand combatant, world-class detective. If you can find a way to do both, great. But please do not make him just like some dumb, big brute brawler, bruiser guy. I don't want that. I don't think anyone does. So, yeah, that's my best guess on how they could do a Batman with no money, no mansion, no butler, and still have him be Batman. But like I said, that's just a hypothesis, and it's a very, very specific one. So I'd be lucky if any of that is actually the truth, any of that shit I just said. But overall, that's the gist of everything we know about Absolute DC. I think it looks sick. I think the character designs overall are cool. My only real complaint is the size of Batman. And I would like to see the bat symbol on the chest look more like a bat. But honestly, if he kept the symbol the way it is and just toned down the beefiness a little bit, I'd call it a win and take it. I think all these designs are sick. I think the premise is cool. Also, the one other thing I forgot to mention is it has been stated that like this universe is going to stand in contrast to the mainline DC universe. And the way it's been described is whereas in the mainline DC universe, it's based around Superman and how he's this eternal symbol for like hope and optimism. This absolute universe is going to be based around the themes and persona of Darkseid. So it's going to be a darker, grimmer, grittier universe where the heroes are at a disadvantage. They're up against huge odds, huge challenges. The odds are not in their favor, and the chances of their heroic exploits paying off are a long shot. That sounds way more interesting to me than a happy-go-lucky sugar time sprinkle fairyland universe that the mainline universe has become. There's no point in having superheroes in a world if the world is already happy and peaceful and tolerant and everything. Where heroes as characters and stories really shine is when the setting and narrative around them is dark, because that allows their like goodness to be that much more noticeable and impactful. So, in other words, another home run of a call to make for this universe. Darker, grittier, but that will make the heroes and their heroism stand out more. I could not be more excited for Absolute DC. I think this is going to sell like hotcakes. I think it's going to be a huge success. I do kind of think it's going to surpass the main line of DC. I really do. And that'll just be great for comics overall because it will vindicate everything that not just me, but a ton of people have been saying online about how like canon and continuity matter. If you're not going to have canon and continuity, why are you even telling a story? And we're going to have it now. We are now going to have some canon and continuity to DC because they are in effect starting over from square one. Is it an exact retelling of the story? No, but it's close enough and similar enough, but also it looks to be just the right amount of similar and different. But then again, we will have to wait and see till these books come out. That's all I have today, guys. Again, I'm going to reiterate McFarlane Toys, get on it. I would buy all of these right now if they were up for pre-order. Get on it. Anyone else who agrees with me on that, leave a comment down below that says, McFarlane, get on it. I'm not saying they watch my channel, but I know for a fact that these companies have marketing analyst teams that look at YouTube videos and see what people are commenting on them and what they want. You know, get on every single YouTube video about Absolute DC and comment on there. McFarlane Toys needs to make figures of these. Everyone do it because I really want some figures of these versions of these three characters. So yeah, other than that, let me know what you guys think. Leave some comments down below. Get a discussion started. Who's excited for this? Who's not excited? Who loves these designs? Who doesn't love these designs? What don't you like about them? What do you love about them? Do you like the new premise for these characters? Do you think Wonder Woman is from Norse mythology? What do you think about Batman's beefiness? Everything. Leave some comments down below. Get a discussion started. If you like this video, please hit the like button. That really helps out my channel. And if you want to help out my channel even further, check out some of my other videos and maybe subscribe. Other than that, I'll talk to you guys later.